What if I told you the world's most famous brand was born from a failed pharmacist's morphine addiction? Its secret formula was sold for just $300, and its biggest mistake almost destroyed the entire company. This is the unbelievable true story of Coca Cola. To discover more incredible stories that will help you master English, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss our next lesson. Today, I have something truly special for you. This is not just a story about a drink. No, it is much more than that. This is a story about failure and about ambition. It is a story about marketing genius, about competition, and even controversy. But most of all, it is a story about ultimate success. We will also talk about the truth behind its biggest failures and mistakes. And most importantly, we will discover what you can learn from this incredible story to apply in your own life, in your own dreams. So please stay with me until the end, because this story is not just about Coca Cola. It is about how you can turn your own dreams into a reality, no matter how small you start. Are you ready? Let's begin the journey of the most famous brand in the world. Coca Cola. Our story begins a long time ago in the year 1886. We are in a city called Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, in the USA. Imagine a man named Dr. John Stith Pemberton. He is working in his laboratory. It's probably a small room filled with bottles and strange smells, the air thick with the scent of herbs and chemicals. Dr. Pemberton was not a businessman. He was a pharmacist, a man of science. He was also a war veteran. He had fought in the American Civil War and had been very badly injured. Because of the constant pain from his injury, he became addicted to morphine, which is a very powerful and dangerous drug. He felt trapped. He wanted more than anything to find a cure for his own addiction. He dreamed of creating something that could help him and others, something that did not rely on dangerous drugs. He decided to create a new type of health drink, a tonic. But what happened next was something he never, ever expected. Pemberton started experimenting. He mixed different plant extracts together, trying to create the perfect tonic. He wanted a drink that could give people energy, cure their headaches, and maybe even improve their mood. His original formula. His first idea contained two very special ingredients. The first was coca leaves. This plant came from South America, and at that time, it contained small amounts of cocaine, which was legal. People thought it had health benefits. The second ingredient was cola nuts. These nuts are from a tree in Africa and contain caffeine, the same thing that is in coffee, which gave people energy and made them feel more alert. He also mixed these with wine. So the very first name of the drink was Pemberton's French wine Coca. It contained alcohol. People started drinking it, and they liked it. They really loved the boost of energy it gave them. It made them feel good. But then a big problem appeared. In that same year, 1886, the city of Atlanta passed a new law. This law banned alcohol. Suddenly, Pemberton's drink was illegal. This meant that his dream, his new business, had to change. He had to adapt. So he went back to his laboratory. He removed the wine from his formula and started experimenting again. He needed a new ingredient to replace the wine and make the syrup taste good. Imagine him working day after day, mixing and tasting, trying to get it just right. Then one afternoon, an accident happened. A happy accident. He was working in his laboratory, and he accidentally mixed his special syrup with carbonated water. You know, bubbly, fizzy water. He heard the fizzing sound. He saw the bubbles rise to the top of the glass. He was curious, so he tasted it. He was shocked. It was delicious. It was sweet. It was bubbly. And it was refreshing. It was something completely new. He knew he had created something special. So he took his new syrup to a local drugstore called Jacob's Pharmacy. He asked them to try selling it. They agreed. At their soda fountain, where people came to drink fizzy drinks, they started serving it for just 5 cents a glass. This was the moment. This was the birth of the drink we now know all over the world as Coca Cola. Now Pemberton was a good scientist, but he was not a good marketer. Luckily, his bookkeeper, a man named Frank M. Robinson, was. Frank Robinson was a marketing genius. He had a natural talent for business. He looked at the new drink and had a brilliant idea. He said to Pemberton, "The two main ingredients are coca, from the coca leaves, and cola, from the cola nuts. We should call it Coca Cola. It sounds good. It rolls off the tongue." The name was catchy, easy to remember, but Frank Robinson didn't stop there. He also designed the original Coca-Cola logo. He wrote the name Coca Cola in his own beautiful, flowing handwriting. That same curved, elegant script is still used today, more than 100 years later. Even at the very beginning, the branding, the look and feel of the product was everything. Pemberton had created a wonderful drink, but he did not have the skills of a businessman. He didn't understand how to grow a company, how to make it bigger. He was also getting older. He was sick, and he was struggling with money. He needed money badly. So instead of building the Coca-Cola company himself, he started selling small parts of his business to different investors. He was selling his dream piece by piece. One of those investors was a man named Asa Candler. Candler was a sharp businessman, and he saw something in Coca-Cola that Pemberton did not see. He saw the future. Pemberton, tired and in need of money, eventually sold the entire Coca-Cola formula to Asa Candler for just $2,300. Today, that would be around $70,000. For the recipe to a future billion-dollar company, he received only this small amount. This was perhaps the biggest mistake of his life. In 1888, just 2 years after creating his famous drink, Dr. Pemberton died. He passed away without ever knowing that his accidental creation, his simple tonic, would one day become the most famous drink in the history of the world. Asa Candler was a very different kind of man. He was not a scientist. He was not an inventor. He was a businessman through and through. And he had one single goal: to make Coca-Cola the most famous drink in the world. By the year 1891, Candler had successfully bought out all the other investors. He became the only owner of the Coca-Cola Company. But the company was still small. It was only being sold in a few pharmacies in and around Atlanta. It was not yet the global empire we know today. Candler knew that if Coca-Cola was going to succeed on a grand scale, he had to do something that had never been done before. He needed a new way of thinking. Candler didn't invent the drink, but he did something that was maybe even more important. He made Coca-Cola a lifestyle. He used marketing strategies that were completely new things people had never seen at that time. These strategies are what took Coca-Cola from being a small drink in a local pharmacy to a national and then an international sensation. His first big idea was the free sample strategy. He wanted to give Coca-Cola away for free. Candler believed in one simple, powerful rule: if people taste Coca-Cola just one time, they will love it and they will buy it again. So he started giving it away. He printed hundreds of thousands of coupons. These were little pieces of paper that allowed people to walk into a pharmacy and get one free glass of Coca-Cola. He put these coupons everywhere. You could find them in newspapers, in magazines. He even had people hand them out on the streets. He also sent salesmen to bars, pharmacies, and soda fountains. Their job was to ask the owners to serve Coca-Cola for free to their customers, with Candler paying for it. This might sound like a crazy idea. Why would you give away your product for free? But it worked. It was brilliant. Within just a few years, millions of people had tried Coca Cola. And just as Candler predicted, they loved it. They kept coming back, and now they were happy to pay for it. By the year 1900, it is said that 1 in every 9 Americans had already tried a free glass of Coca Cola. Candler had created a demand, a desire for his product that had never existed before. His second strategy was branding everywhere. He wanted to make Coca Cola a household name. Candler understood something that most businesses at the time failed to realize. If you want people to remember your product, they need to see it everywhere they go, all the time. So he made sure the name Coca Cola was on everything. He put the logo on clocks, on calendars, on notebooks. He had it on billboards along the roads. He had it painted on the sides of buildings, on the signs outside of stores. No matter where people went, it felt like they saw the words, "Drink Coca-Cola," written somewhere. This was the first time in history that a product was being marketed so aggressively, so completely. And guess what? It worked again. By 1895, just a few years after he took over, Coca-Cola was being sold in every single state in the United States. At first, Coca-Cola was only sold at soda fountains. This meant that you had to go to a shop or a pharmacy to drink it. You couldn't take it home with you. But in 1899, 2 lawyers from Tennessee, a man named Joseph Whitehead and another named Benjamin Thomas, approached Asa Candler. They came to him with a new business idea. They said, "Mr. Candler, we want to start bottling Coca-Cola. We want to put it in bottles so that people can buy it and drink it anywhere at any time." At first, Candler didn't believe in the idea. He thought the real business was at the soda fountains. But eventually, he agreed. And he sold them the rights to bottle Coca-Cola for just $1. This was another huge mistake, because soon the bottled Coca-Cola became even more popular than the drink sold in the soda fountains. The first Coca-Cola bottles were simple straight-sided bottles. They were very easy for other companies to copy. And many did. These competitors wanted to trick people into buying their drinks instead. So in 1915, Coca-Cola decided to design a unique bottle, a bottle shape that was impossible to imitate. That is how the famous curved Coca-Cola bottle was born. It was created specifically to fight off these copycats. While Coca-Cola was growing, another drink was being created in a different state, North Carolina. In 1893, a pharmacist named Caleb Bradham invented his own new cola drink. At first, he called it Brad's Drink, but in 1898, he changed the name to Pepsi Cola. Bradham was inspired by the success of Coca-Cola, but he had a different strategy. He wanted to make a drink that was cheaper, more affordable for everyday people. At first, Pepsi was not a real threat to Coca-Cola. It was just another soda on the market. But things were about to change. During the Great Depression, a very difficult time in American history, from 1929 to 1939, many people lost their jobs and had very little money. During this time, Coca-Cola refused to lower its price. It was still selling for 5 cents a bottle. Pepsi saw an opportunity. They introduced a bigger bottle for the exact same price. They offered twice the amount of Pepsi for the same 5 cents. It was a very smart move. For the first time in its history, Coca-Cola had serious competition. People who were struggling financially, who had to watch every penny, started switching to Pepsi because it was simply a better deal. This was the beginning of the legendary Pepsi versus Coca-Cola war, a battle of brands that continues to this very day. Now we must talk about a difficult part of Coca-Cola's history. For its first 40 years, Coca-Cola did contain small amounts of cocaine from the coca leaves. Back then, cocaine was legal, and many people believed it had health benefits. They thought it helped with fatigue, with pain, and with mood. But as time passed, scientists and doctors began to realize the serious dangers of cocaine. By the early 1900s, there was a lot of public pressure on Coca Cola to remove cocaine from its formula. So in 1904, Coca Cola stopped using fresh coca leaves. Instead, they switched to using spent coca leaves, which are leaves that have already had most of the cocaine removed. By 1929, the drink was completely cocaine-free. However, the Coca-Cola Company never officially admitted that its drink used to contain cocaine. This remains one of the biggest controversies in the company's long history, as Coca-Cola grew into a national sensation in the early 1900s. One thing was becoming very clear. It was no longer just a drink. It was becoming a symbol of American culture. But for Coca-Cola to become a truly legendary company, a true icon, it needed to do something bigger. It needed to do something that no other brand had ever done before. It needed to go beyond the United States and become a global empire. In 1919, Asa Candler sold the Coca-Cola Company to a group of investors. He sold it for $25 million. Today, that would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You might ask, why did Asa Candler sell Coca-Cola? Well, he was getting older, and he wanted to focus on other things in his life. He had already made Coca-Cola a huge success, but he was not interested in running the company forever. He wanted to spend more time with his family and on charity work. At the same time, World War I had just ended, and the price of sugar, one of Coca-Cola's main ingredients, was rising quickly. Running the company was becoming more difficult and more expensive. Candler decided it was the right time to sell. So, who bought Coca-Cola? A group of investors, led by a man named Ernest Woodruff, purchased the company. Woodruff became the president of the Coca-Cola Company in 1923, and his goal was simple but huge. He wanted to make Coca-Cola available to every single person on the planet. This was not an easy task. At that time, the world was still very disconnected. There were no modern supply chains, no global marketing strategies, and no easy ways to transport goods internationally. Woodruff and his team had to build everything from scratch. To expand Coca-Cola outside of the United States, he focused on three main things. First, setting up bottling plants in different countries instead of just shipping Coca-Cola from America. Second, creating marketing campaigns that were tailored to different cultures so people around the world would feel like Coca-Cola was a drink made for them. And third, making Coca-Cola available to soldiers, workers, and travelers, ensuring that wherever people went, they could find a bottle of Coca-Cola. By the 1930s, Coca-Cola had already entered many international markets, but it was still not a dominant global brand. That all changed during World War II. When the war started in 1939, American soldiers were sent to fight in many different parts of the world. These soldiers missed home. They missed their families, their towns, their way of life, and they wanted something that reminded them of America. Coca-Cola saw this as a golden opportunity. Ernest Woodruff made a bold and famous promise. He said that every American soldier anywhere in the world should be able to buy a bottle of Coca-Cola for just 5 cents. To make this happen, Coca-Cola built new bottling plants right there in the war zones in Europe and Asia, so that soldiers could get fresh Coca-Cola no matter where they were stationed. This was a marketing strategy like no other. Because of this, millions of soldiers drank Coca-Cola every day during the war. It became a part of their daily life, a small comfort in a difficult time. And when the war finally ended, these soldiers returned home. They continued drinking Coca-Cola, making it even more popular back in America. But something even bigger happened. As Coca-Cola was setting up these bottling plants around the world to serve the soldiers, the local people in those countries also started seeing and drinking Coca-Cola. They became curious. By the time the war was over in 1945, Coca Cola had established a presence in over 44 countries. It had successfully used the war to expand its global empire. While Coca Cola was dominating the world, Pepsi was struggling. In the 1930s, Pepsi had nearly gone bankrupt because it just could not compete with Coca Cola's powerful marketing. But after World War II, Pepsi decided to fight back and to fight back aggressively. By the 1970s, Coca Cola was the undisputed king of soft drinks. It had been #1 for decades, but Pepsi was not ready to give up. In 1975, Pepsi launched one of the most famous marketing campaigns in history. It was called the Pepsi Challenge. The concept was very simple. Pepsi set up tables with blind taste tests in shopping malls and other public places. People were given 2 unmarked cups. One cup had Coca-Cola in it, and the other had Pepsi. They were asked to take a sip from both cups and then say which one they thought tasted better. The results were shocking. A majority of people, more than half, chose Pepsi over Coca-Cola. Pepsi used this campaign to attack Coca-Cola directly. They ran television commercials that showed real people just like you and me choosing Pepsi in these blind taste tests. This was a massive hit. Pepsi had challenged Coca-Cola before, especially during the Great Depression with its lower price. But in 1975, the Pepsi Challenge changed the game. It was not just about price anymore. Now it was about taste. For the very first time, Pepsi was winning over customers by trying to prove that people actually preferred its flavor over Coca-Cola's. Coca-Cola started losing customers. By the 1980s, Pepsi was getting dangerously close to Coca-Cola in sales. Pepsi had positioned itself as the cooler, younger brand, while Coca-Cola was starting to be seen as a little old-fashioned. The leaders at Coca-Cola panicked. In 1985, they made what is now considered the worst decision in the company's entire history. They changed the original Coca-Cola formula. They created and introduced a new, sweeter version called New Coke. They believed this new taste would help them win back the younger customers who preferred Pepsi. But they were completely, totally wrong. As soon as New Coke hit the market, there was a massive backlash. People hated it. They were not just disappointed, they were angry. Customers started to boycott Coca-Cola. They started hoarding or stocking up on the old Coca-Cola, and they absolutely refused to buy the new version. The public demanded the return of the original formula. They made phone calls, they wrote letters. They felt like their favorite drink had been taken away from them. Coca-Cola had no choice. After just 79 days of chaos, the company was forced to bring back the original formula. They called it Coca-Cola Classic. New Coke was a massive failure. But ironically, in a strange way, it actually helped Coca-Cola in the long run. Why? Because it reminded people just how much they loved the original taste. This whole event was one of the biggest marketing disasters in history. But Coca-Cola survived. The rivalry between Coca-Cola and Pepsi only got bigger over the years. Both companies spent billions and billions of dollars on advertising, constantly trying to outdo each other. Pepsi focused on celebrities. It signed huge deals with stars like Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, and Beyoncé, making Pepsi look modern and stylish. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, focused on emotional branding. It created the famous Share a Coke campaign and the legendary Christmas ads with Santa Claus, connecting their drink to feelings of happiness and togetherness. For decades, Coca-Cola and Pepsi attacked each other in commercials, in lawsuits, and with new product launches. Even today, the Coca-Cola versus Pepsi battle continues. But through it all, Coca-Cola still remains the #1 soft drink brand in the world. Of course, with such a long history, Coca-Cola has also faced many controversies, some dark secrets. It has been criticized for contributing to health problems like obesity and diabetes, because of the high sugar content in its drinks. In countries like India, the company has been accused of taking too much groundwater, causing water shortages for local communities. And environmentally, Coca Cola has been called out for being one of the world's biggest contributors to plastic waste. The company has also faced multiple lawsuits, including very serious accusations of hiring paramilitary groups in Colombia to stop labor unions. Despite these serious controversies, Coca Cola remains one of the most powerful brands in history. By the early 2000s, Coca Cola faced a new and different problem. The world was changing. Soda sales for the first time were declining. People were becoming more health conscious. Concerns over sugar obesity and diabetes were pushing consumers toward healthier alternatives. Coca Cola had two options. One, it could ignore the trend and just keep selling soda. Or two, it could adapt and expand beyond soda. The company chose the second option. Instead of fighting the shift in people's habits, Coca Cola started buying and launching new kinds of beverages to dominate every single part of the drinks market. Here is how Coca Cola expanded beyond just soda. First, the water market. This was a very smart move. Coca Cola realized that if people were drinking less soda, they were probably drinking more water. Instead of letting other bottled water brands take over, Coca Cola decided to dominate this space too. In 2002, Coca Cola launched Dasani, its own bottled water brand, which quickly became one of the best-selling water brands in the world. Then, in 2007, Coca Cola acquired a company called Glacéo, the company behind Vitamin Water and Smart Water, for $4.1 billion. This was one of the biggest beverage deals in history. Now Coca Cola owns some of the most popular bottled water brands, ensuring that even if soda sales drop, people will still be drinking Coca Cola-owned products. Next, the juice business. If people were not drinking soda, maybe they were drinking juice. Coca Cola knew it couldn't easily create a famous juice brand from scratch. So instead, it bought one of the biggest juice companies in the world. In 2001, Coca Cola purchased Minute Maid, one of the most well-known juice brands. Later, it also acquired other juice and smoothie companies. Then, there was the energy drink market. Brands like Red Bull and Monster Energy were dominating this fast-growing market, and Coca Cola wanted a piece of it. In 2014, Coca Cola bought a 16.7% stake in Monster Energy for $2.15 billion. This created a partnership that allowed Monster to grow while Coca Cola helped distribute its drinks globally. And finally, the coffee takeover. Coffee was a trillion-dollar industry, and Coca Cola had no major presence in it. That changed in 2018, when Coca Cola made one of its biggest purchases ever. It bought Costa Coffee for $5.1 billion. Costa Coffee was the largest coffee chain in the United Kingdom and had over 4,000 locations worldwide. With this one deal, Coca Cola officially entered the coffee industry, competing directly with giants like Starbucks. One of Coca Cola's most genius strategies is brand diversification. Many people think Coca Cola only sells Coke, Sprite, and Fanta. But in reality, the company owns over 500 different beverage brands all across the world. Here is a shocking fact. Coca Cola doesn't just compete with other drink brands. In many cases, it owns them. So when you think you are choosing a healthy alternative to Coke, you might still be buying a product owned by Coca Cola. When you think you are supporting a small independent brand, Coca Cola might secretly own it. Coca Cola has mastered the art of controlling the market from all angles, ensuring that no matter what you choose to drink, the company makes money. The company's power isn't just in its drinks, it's in its incredible branding and sponsorship deals. The company spends billions of dollars every single year to make sure its name is seen everywhere, associated with positive events. Think about the Olympics. Coca Cola has been a sponsor of the Olympic Games since 1928. This makes it the longest-running sponsor in history. No matter where the Olympics are held, Coca Cola is there ensuring that billions of people see its brand connected with feelings of achievement and global unity. Or the FIFA World Cup, the biggest football or soccer event in the world. Since 1978, Coca Cola has been an official sponsor. This ensures that Coca Cola remains incredibly popular in countries where football is the most beloved sport. And in America, there is the Super Bowl. Every year, Coca Cola spends tens of millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials, making sure its ads become a part of pop culture. Coca Cola is not just thinking about today, it is planning for the next 100 years. The company is now using artificial intelligence, or AI, to create ads to analyze consumer behavior and to predict trends before they even happen. It is investing billions of dollars into creating sustainable packaging, like biodegradable bottles and reusable containers to fight plastic pollution. The company is also slowly entering the alcohol market, launching drinks like Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. It is expanding into plant-based drinks, protein shakes, and other functional beverages to appeal to health-conscious consumers. And it is even testing subscription models and direct online sales, allowing customers to order customized drinks straight from the company. Coca-Cola is so much more than just a drink. It is an empire. It's a cultural icon and a marketing powerhouse. It turned a simple 5-cent soda into a company worth over $250 billion. It survived World War II, the Cola Wars, and massive scandals. It continues to adapt, to innovate, and to dominate the global beverage industry. No matter how much the world changes, one thing seems certain: Coca-Cola is here to stay. Coca-Cola's journey is more than just a business story. It is a lesson in resilience, in vision, and in adaptation. From a small pharmacy in Atlanta to a global empire, Coca-Cola proves one very important thing: success is not about luck. It is about strategy, consistency, and the ability to evolve. So what are the biggest lessons you can learn from Coca-Cola's incredible success? First, build a strong brand. Coca-Cola never just sold a drink. It sold a feeling. It sold happiness, memories, and emotions. Your brand is more than your product. It is how people feel about you and what you do. Whether you are starting a business, growing your career, or creating something new, focus on building a strong identity that people can connect with. Second, never fear competition. Instead, use it to grow. Pepsi came after Coca-Cola like a storm, but instead of giving up, Coca-Cola fought harder and became stronger. The lesson is that competition forces you to improve. If someone challenges you, do not panic. Get better. Innovate and prove why you deserve to be number one. Third, mistakes are not the end. They are a new beginning. Coca-Cola's biggest failure. New Coke could have destroyed the company, but instead, they admitted their mistake. They listened to their customers and they bounced back even stronger. In your life, you will fail. Everyone does. What matters is how you respond. Keep going, keep learning, and keep improving. Fourth, you must adapt or you will die. Coca-Cola changed its marketing, its packaging, and its entire strategy over and over again to stay relevant in a fast-changing world. If you refuse to evolve, you will be left behind. Always be ready to adapt and grow no matter what you do. And finally, the fifth lesson. Think big and take risks. Coca-Cola did not stop at America. It aimed for the entire world. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to stop thinking small. Dream big. Take calculated risks and go after what you truly want. Coca-Cola is not just a drink. It is proof that anything is possible if you work hard. If you believe in your vision, and if you never ever stop improving, if you want more powerful and inspiring stories like this one, please subscribe to this channel and stay motivated to achieve your own success. Your journey is just beginning. Thank you for listening.